What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahoney here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today, I'm going to be showing off the top 8 deck list from the conclusion of the Limitless Online series, the Limitless Invitational. It's a very exciting event, and there are some really cool deck lists in the top 8 that I really look forward to showing off. As we can see here on LimitlessTCG.com, the story of the weekend is two Spiritomb decks facing off in the finals, with Kevin Kruger winning the entire event and Luke Morsa, aka Celio's Network, finishing in second place. Both lists use Galarian Zigzagoon as well as the Scoop Up Net engine and Yveltal GX with its Doom Count GX attack to take big knockouts. Half of the top 8 decks revolved around Zacian V, with Azul finishing in third place with his Zacian V Jirachi Prism Star combo deck. Takedo Seki also finished in the top 8 with a Zacian V Jirachi Prism Star combo deck. But our other two Zacian V decks were very different. In top 8, we had Oliver Montijo with a Turbo Zacian ADP deck, as well as Axel Alvarez with a Lucario and Melmetal GX Zacian V deck, each player selecting a different tag team to pair with Zacian V. We also had Michael Catrone finish in top 8 of the event, the only Dragapult VMAX in top 8, and Aaron Friedman, the only Pikachu and Zekrom player in top 8, finishing in 4th place. To kick things off, we're going to take a look at Michael Catrone's top 8 Dragapult VMAX list, and first thing we notice is that there is no Zamazenta V in this list like he played in the Limitless Online Qualifier number 4, I believe as a joke. Instead, we've got a much more useful one-of card in the form of Gengar and Mimikyu Tag Team GX, whose Horror House GX attack is a fantastic GX attack for this deck to have available to it. It can swing the tides of the match in the middle of the game. If you just want one more turn to get your hand right, it can be very useful. Maybe you switch from a Dragapult into a Horror House GX and find yourself the gusting card that you need on the following turn for game. You can stack Boss's Orders. You can just give yourself one more turn with that Horror House GX more often than not. I really like that ability, not just in the beginning of the game, which of course can just buy you another turn to find your Dragapults and get them down with an energy, while your opponent doesn't really do too much because of the effect of Horror House GX, that they can't play any cards from their hand. But it's also good, I think, in the middle and the late game, so I really like the addition of the Gengar Mimikyu GX. Poltergeist can also be a situationally useful attack if your opponent has a gigantic hand, maybe after you used Horror House GX. I really like the gusting options in this list as well. We've got one copy of Great Catcher, a Fion, and just one Boss's Orders, which seems okay since we do have the Great Catcher in the list, and I love Great Catcher. I think Great Catcher is a really important card right now, especially with the way that this deck preys on Dedenne GX on the bench. I think that Great Catcher is a great option to bring up the Dedenne at the end of the game and just end the game very quickly. We'll notice that this is not a very teched out list. It's very streamlined, which I like. Consistency is extremely important at this high level of play, and it looks like Michael decided, instead of playing Crushing Hammers and cards like that, went for straight consistency and disruption in the form of Power Plant and Reset Stamp. Power Plant consistently shutting down Dedenne GX or Corio GX, cards like this at the end of the game. With Reset Stamp, 3 Reset Stamp means that you're pretty much always going to have it when you want it, limiting your opponent's hand. And you can see there is no Marnie in this deck, so really relying on the Reset Stamp to be that form of hand disruption in this particular list, and I think that's very strong. Also, with 3 copies of Energy Spinner in the deck, it means that Catrone was able to find those Psychics early on in the match, making sure that you can get that turn 1 energy drop onto Dragapult V. Since there is no Malamar or anything like that in the list, getting that turn 1 energy drop is extremely important, and Energy Spinner is capable of being found with a turn 1 Stellar Wish. We play 4 Jirachi in the deck, so there's plenty of opportunities to Stellar Wish. I really like the 4 switch, 4 Scoop Up Net, and 1 Escape Board switching outs in the deck as well. I think that's very strong and is definitely great for the Jirachi. And then 4 Quick Ball, 4 Mysterious Treasure, just maximizing that search consistency. And instead of playing 2 Galarian Zigzagoon, we've got 1 Galarian Zigzagoon and the Distortion Door Giratina, which can be situationally useful for placing 2 damage counters on the bench instead of 1 damage counter everywhere, anywhere. Instead of just being able to scoop up net and play it back down, you do have to repeatedly discard it, but it's not that big of a deal since we've got Great Catcher, Mysterious Treasure, Quick Ball, Research, plenty of ways to put the Giratina back into the discard pile if we decide we want to scoop up net the Giratina in the first place. All around, I think a very solid list, and it's no mystery how this powerful Dragapult VMAX deck was able to finish in the top 8 of the Limitless Invitational. Takedo Seki, the winner of the Limitless Online Qualifier number 4, also finished in top 8 with his unique Jirachi Prism Star Zacian V combo deck. And of course, Takedo loves to play the Sonya. We still got 2 copies of Sonya in this list, which I really love. It's super cool to see this card seeing play in such a powerful, aggressive deck like Zacian V. Sonya can allow you to search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or up to 2 basic energy cards. So when you're just looking for those early attachments and you already have Zacian V in your hand, it can be very good to just use Sonya to get those energies to your hand. You can even discard one in order to use Metal Saucer to boost up that Zacian even more. Or if you've got plenty of energy and you're just looking for basic Pokemon, I really like Sonya's ability to just go get 2 basic Pokemon out of the deck, which is extremely useful since this is a combo deck. We do need to find the Jirachi Prism Star. We need to find the Oranguru. We need to find the Mr. Mime in order to put the Jirachi Prism Star into the prizes and use its Wish Upon a Star ability to take a bonus prize, all while making sure that there is a bench space available for the Jirachi Prism Star to go onto the bench so that you can take that bonus prize. It may sound wombo combo-y, but it works, and it has been doing very well lately, which is really cool to see such a convoluted strategy really taking flight here with the backbone of Zacian V. And it's no wonder that Zacian V is able to make this combo work with the Intrepid Sword ability being so strong, able to accelerate energies, draw cards. It's got 220 hit points. It does 230 damage. It's just one of the most broken Pokemon cards ever printed. And the fact that it has that built-in consistency with Intrepid Sword, there's no easy way to gust it out. There's boss's orders, but Great Catcher doesn't work on it. So Zacian V can pretty much safely Intrepid Sword and build up a board state by itself on the bench. And then you can take all of your resources like Quick Ball, Friend Ball, and Sonya and Scoop Up Net. Just use those while you're Stellar Wishing to put the Jirachi Prism Star into the prizes and take pointed knockouts with Zacian V when you're ready to strike and take your extra prize. So that's really cool. Also, Hoopa is just a great card with all of the Jirachis from Team Up seeing play. Evil Admonition can easily take a knockout on Jirachi if your opponent's got 3 Pokemon in play that have abilities, and ability Pokemon are very common, especially in the Zacian V combo mirror. If we take a quick look, every one of these guys except for Hoopa has an ability, so that Hoopa is very capable of getting in there and taking out knockouts, taking knockouts early while only offering up 1 prize in exchange. So I think the Hoopa seems very valuable for the Zacian combo mirror, and I think that this list is just very strong, very streamlined. I love it. The Friend Ball, of course, good in the mirror as well, or good against any deck that plays Jirachi, which is almost every deck can get you any of your metal Pokemon for free. And I like that bonus search in combination with Quick Ball. For Quick Ball rarely feels like enough to get all of your basic Pokemon out in play. So I really like the Friend Ball in combination with the Quick Ball and the Sonya to make sure that you easily get all of your basics into play and execute the game-winning combo with this very crazy Zacian V combo deck. Axel Alvarez also finished in top 8 of the event with a very unique Lucario and Melmetal focused version of Zacian V. This version of the deck is much grindier than the turbo combo versions of the list. We can see it plays 4 Crushing Hammer. It even plays the new promo Apom from the Pikachu and Zekrom battle decks with the Yank Out attack. For just 1 energy, you get to discard random cards from your opponent's hand till they have 5 cards in their hand. And Zacian V can very quickly build up very large hands, especially with Intrepid Sword. Yank Out can definitely take out key resources from the opponent's side of the field, which is very good. We also have 2 Mallow and Lana in the deck, just really emphasizing the tankiness of this deck. Lucario and Melmetal, it's got that Full Metal Wall GX attack, which removes energies from the opponent's active Pokemon if you've got 2 energies on your Lucario Melmetal GX, and it makes it so that your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. In combination with Metal Frying Pan, it is not uncommon for your metal Pokemon to be taking minus 60 damage from attacks. And then when you are really directly attacking their resources with Crushing Hammers, and of course the secondary effect of Full Metal Wall, Power Plant, making it so they can't use GX Pokemon's abilities, and then healing off the damage you do take with Mallow and Lana, you see you've got a very oppressive deck to play against. It can be very difficult to get that damage to stack up against this list. Now, the shortcoming of a deck like this is that you can't actually boost your Zacian V's damage output in any way, and you're only taking 1 prize per knockout, which those don't seem like downfalls, but those are what the other Zacian decks do. We're locked into doing 230 damage, meaning that we don't have any way to one-hit KO a Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX with its 240 HP and metal resistance. So we have to have some ways to place damage that will help us to get those knockouts later on in the game. And Duskmane Necrozma helps us to do just that. With the Dusk Shot attack for 1 metal energy, you do 60 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon GX or EX, which really easily brings everything into range for Zacian V to knock out in 1 hit with Brave Blade. That's 60 damage plus the 230, 290, you're going to be knocking out every single Pokemon GX in the format with a combination of Duskmane Necrozma and Zacian V. So that's very strong. We've got the Mew from Unbroken Bonds here to help protect against Tag Bolts and other sniping shenanigans, which is very good. Tool Scrapper is great for removing escape boards, frying pans, metal goggles, so on and so forth from the opponent's side of the field. Acro Bikes are great to just churn through the deck, help get metal energies into the discard pile. Eldegoss V, we could potentially get a 3rd Mallow and Lana or a 3rd Boss's Orders back from the discard pile, so I really love that card here, which can be very good against Dragapult. And you imagine this list has got to have a pretty good time against Dragapult with all of the Crushing Hammers, all of the healing, and the fact that Dragapult is just not going to be dealing that much damage to your Zacians. I think that with Dragapult being so highly placed in the meta, this was a very strong call as far as a way to play Zacian V. So a very strong list, very cool, and exciting to see this yank out Apom seeing play in a deck. So all around, a very strong deck choice from Axel for this event and an excellent top 8 finish. Rounding out the rest of top 8, we have Oliver Montijo with his very unique Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia GX Zacian V deck. Now ADP taking a little bit of a backseat in the metagame with the rise in popularity of Zacian V Jirachi Prism Star combo decks, but Alter Creation GX is just a tried and true strategy capable of boosting Zacian V's damage output to insane numbers, 260, and also giving it the ability to take those bonus prizes. Now, this is a really cool list. I mean, you can see right away we've got Zamazenta V in the deck, which has been very popular lately because of the rise of Dragapult VMAX. Dragapult VMAX doesn't have a great way to deal with Zamazenta V outside of just attacking with Dragapult V, which is not super optimal since it can be easily KO'd by Zacian V's. But we also have no Jirachi in the list. We also have Order Pads in this deck. Hello, you get to flip a coin if heads, search your deck for an item card. And with the Acro Bikes Energy Switch, it's very clear this deck list is designed to get a fast turn 1 Altered Creation GX. So you gotta love the aggression here out of this list. 2 Dedenne GX, no Jirachis, only 2 copies of Switch because we've got no Jirachis in the list. Instead, 3 energy switch. You can just switch your energy to the active and make sure that you are able to attack with whatever is in the active position at any given point in time. And with 4 order pads, you could just search out a switch on the turn that you might want it. There is a Mallow and Lana, which can act as a switch out as well after you Alter Creation GX, Mallow and Lana to a Zacian V and Brave Blade for big numbers, which is awesome. Great catcher in the deck as well. Awesome for taking multiple prizes on cards like Dedenne GX, taking 3 prizes after an Altered Creation GX. So you gotta love that in there. 2 Boss's Orders, no Shrine of Punishment, no Vitality Band, just Chaotic Swell, no additional ways to boost your damage output with Zacian V, which means that after an Ultra Creation GX, you can knock out Pikarom just barely with his 240 HP and metal resistance, but you're not really going to be KOing too many other tag team Pokemon GX in one hit. But I don't think that it really matters for this list, since you're just taking bonus prizes on non-GX Pokemon, taking bonus prizes on Dedenne GX. Pikarom decks have a ton of Dedennes on the bench, have a ton of cards like Zeraora GX Boltund that you can just take 3 prizes on, and you really only got to knock out 2 non-tag team Pokemon in order to win the game after an Ultra Creation GX. So the fact that this list does not have a ton of amazing ways to knock out the biggest tag team Pokemon, like there's no way to one-hit KO an Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia GX. ADP is not super popular in this meta, so it does not matter. So I really like this deck list here, and I think it's really unique. And with the air balloons, you can help to, you know, kind of buff that switch count as well, which I do really like, since if you start a card like Dedenne GX or Eldegoss or even a Oranguru, you're going to want an additional way to find yourself out of the active position. Air balloon also perfectly gives your Zacian V the ability to retreat after a Brave Blade. So 2 copies of Switch in the deck's not going to be a big hang up, since we do have the 2 copies of Air Balloon. And that is about it for the Turbo Zacian list. An awesome list here from Oliver, and I'm really looking forward to playing it on stream. In 4th place, we have Aaron Friedman with his Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX deck, and this list will look very familiar for anyone who's been following the Limitless Online Qualifier series. That is similar in essence to Kimpo Bega's winning list from Limitless Online Qualifier number 3, except there are some key differences. The Wondrous Labyrinth. What a cool card to include in your Pikarom deck. Wondrous Labyrinth makes it so that the attacks of non-fairy Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, cost 1 colorless more. Now, there are no fairy Pokemon that do any attacking in this deck, but Pikarom decks will very commonly have more energy than they need on the field. So early game, you're going to want to go with Thunder Mountain to make the attacks of your lightning Pokemon cost 1 lightning energy less. Of course, that is utilized all the time. 2 energy Full Blitz, insane. 1 energy Bolt Storms, awesome, right? 1 energy Static Shocks and Tingly Returns, I've done it. Yup, just about anything that you want to do with these Pokemon, it gets better with Thunder Mountain, Prism Star. Wondrous Labyrinth is a late game card. You can reset Stamp to low and then just smack a Wondrous Labyrinth down on the field, and sometimes it's going to lock decks like Dragapult VMAX out of attacking if maybe they're just on tempo to get that perfect 2 energy attack launched, and you counter with a Wondrous Labyrinth, reset Stamp to low. Sometimes they may just miss the attack since they don't have the energy required. Also, Zacian decks, very, very key on attacking for just 3 energy and not 4. It's a big difference for a Zacian deck that relies on using Metal Saucer. Oftentimes with the Zacian combo decks, they have the perfect amount of Metal Saucers left in deck to perform that final attack with that Zacian V, and Wondrous Labyrinth can mess that up, making it so that they need either a Stadium, of which they usually play very few, if any, or they need an extra Saucer, which they probably don't have at the end of the game, in order to launch that Brave Blade. So I really like the inclusion of the Wondrous Labyrinth in here, and the second reset Stamp, just to make sure that those Wondrous Labyrinth plays are extra strong. Outside of that, this is a very straightforward, familiar Pikarom list, and I really love the backbone of this Pikarom list that we've been seeing at these Limitless Online Qualifiers. The No Jirachi engine just really focused on speed, lightning energy. Only 2 speed, lightning energy in this particular list, but still just using those speed, lightning energies and the tag calls to set up your board position. No Jirachi required, which also means no little threats on the field, no little liabilities, I should say, for Dragapult VMAX to pick off. The Resetting Hole Marshadow to get those power plants out of the way, allowing you to really lean on Dedenne GX's Day-Day Change to just churn through your deck. With 3 of those in the deck, you're going to be doing that all the time. We have 3 Marnie in this list as well, which means that we're going to have pretty decent hand disruption throughout the game with a 2 reset Stamp and the 3 Marnie. Just a very strong overall list, and then Mew from Unbroken Bonds for that mirror match too. So really cool list and an excellent finish from Aaron Friedman, top 4 of the Limitless Invitational. In third place, we have Azul with his Zacian V, Zamazenta, Jirachi Prism Star combo deck. And I love this list. It's straightforward, it's streamlined, it's consistent. It's everything that I want out of a Pokemon deck. We've got the 2 Mr. Mimes in here and the 2 Oranguru, which means that we're just more consistently going to be able to pull off that Wish Upon a Star combo with this deck. So I really love that. The 4 Acrobikes, I'm definitely a 4 Acrobike fan. When you play Acrobike, 4 of them, it just, why not just play the whole set of Acrobikes, right? And just give yourself the ability to churn through your deck as much as possible, meaning that you're going to just more naturally hit the cards that you need early on in the game. If you're digging for a boss's orders to take a key knockout on the turn that you've got the combo, you can dig for it with Acrobike. Acrobike just makes your Stellar Wishes stronger, and I really like that about the deck. You can Acrobike, then Stellar Wish, giving you a dig into your deck that is deeper than you would get without the Acrobikes, right? Stellar Wish just looks at the top 5 cards of your deck. Usually you're going to want to Acrobike first. If you've got 2 Acrobikes in your hand, it means that you're going to see 9 unique cards by the time you play both Acrobikes and Stellar Wish, which is really strong. Just giving yourself a non-supporter dig for 9 cards, looking for a specific card, since there are plenty of counts of the cards that you will need. More than likely, you know, when you're digging for 7 to 9 cards, I mean, if you just Acrobike once, then Stellar Wish, you're digging 7 instead of 5. It just really makes your Stellar Wishing potential that much stronger, which is something that I love about playing Acrobike with the Stellar Wish Jirachi. And yeah, as you can see, the list is very consistent. We've got the 4 Scoop Up Nets, 4 Switch, 2 Escape Boards, giving us plenty of pivot outs for our Jirachis. 10 pivot outs there, which I really like. The Friend Ball, obviously amazing against any deck that plays Metal Pokemon, which is just about every deck. So gotta love that as well. And the 2 Marnie, no reset stamps, not really looking to disrupt with this deck, just looking to be as aggressive as possible, which played off very well for Azul in the Limitless Online Qualifier number 4 and also in the Limitless Invitational here. The addition of Zamazenta V, very good against Dragapult VMAX. We don't have a lot of disruption in this list. We don't have really any way to slow down a Dragapult VMAX deck, and a lot of times Dragapult VMAX will set up without putting Dedenne GX on the field, which means you don't have the option to take 3 prizes on a Dedenne, and generally Dragapult players can kind of just scoop up their field and make it so that you just have to deal with Dragapult VMAXs, which can be very annoying. So Zamazenta V, definitely a welcome addition to the deck, since it forces Dragapult VMAX into some weird situations. It's also situationally useful in theory for the Assault Tackle attack, which can in theory discard energy from Pokemon that have special energy attached to them and would stop the effects of cards like Black Market Prism Star. Now, unfortunately, in the tournament, there was a bug with Black Market Prism Star in the way that it interacted with Zamazenta V, and both of the finalist Spiritomb decks play Black Market Prism Star, and I think there was just such a weird interaction. Since when, you know, in the metagame, do we have Black Market Prism Star paired with Zamazenta V? Such a weird interaction, right? Both kind of on the very rarely used card tiers, making their way into such a high level. Both Zamazenta V and Black Market Prism Star cards that just very rarely saw play up until this event. And sure enough, there was a bug with the Black Market Prism Star and Zamazenta V. Zamazenta V is supposed to discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon before it takes the knockout. That's just the effect of the attack. So the effect of the attack should trigger before the knockout is checked, and then the Black Market Prism Star should not prevent that prize from being taken because the special energy is removed first, and Black Market Prism Star requires that there is a dark energy attached to the Pokemon that is being knocked out. So Zamazenta V should, in theory, go through that Black Market Prism Star, but there was a bug, unfortunately, with the game, which I am sure that will be fixed relatively quickly because it happened in such a high-profile match. So very cool, very strong deck here from Azul, and another amazing placement for Azul. So major congrats to Azul on his 3rd place finish at the Limitless Invitational. In 2nd place, we have Luke Morsa, aka Celio's Network, on both Twitch and YouTube, with his Tomb Count deck. Doom Count GX, Yveltal GX Attack, and then Spiritomb Tomb Count. right? Get it? Cool. Tomb Counts is the new way to play Spiritomb, and Spiritomb has been one of my favorite decks in testing as of late, so it was very fun to see 2 different Spiritomb decks in the finals of the Limitless Invitational. This particular list uses Buzzwole, but that is the only beast in the deck. Andrew Wambolt made it to the top 8 of Limitless Qualifier number 4 with his Spiritomb Ultra Beast deck. It played Nihilego, played Buzzwole, also played Buzzmosa. I've been favoring Blacephalon GX myself in the list lately, but Yveltal GX in combination with Galarian Zigzagoon just allows for some really incredible plays. Doomcount GX automatically takes a knockout on the defending Pokemon if they have exactly 4 damage counters on it, which could be very easy to negotiate with cards like Galarian Zigzagoon with the Headbutt Tantrum ability, which places 1 damage counter anywhere you want on your opponent's side of the field. And then you can use Scoop Up Net to redo it, right? Which is awesome. So Scoop Up Net, not only amazing for reusing Stellar Wish, but also amazing for reusing the Headbutt Tantrum on the Galarian Zigzagoon. Also great for reusing Giratina here with the Dimension Breach ability, and this Giratina with the Dimension Breach ability has been very popular because it is just so strong against Dragapult decks and Pikachu decks, as they both are playing those new special energy from Rebel Clash, right? Speed Lightning energy and Horror Psychic energy, both really, really good. So Dimension Breach Giratina has become even more popular as of late in combination with Scoop Up Net to help pump the brakes on those powerful VMAX and GX decks. We also have Oricorio GX in the deck for its Dance of Tribute ability, and Dedenne GX to help us draw through the deck and make sure we're hitting the cards that we need after our Pokemon get knocked out. Since this is a primarily non-GX deck, we can afford to give up 2 prize cards every once in a while, so long as we are trading favorably with the opponent. That's the whole idea of this deck, is that it trades favorably with whatever the opponent is doing. I do love the 1 edition of Great Ball in this deck. I think that's phenomenal. Great Ball rocks. I mean, just getting to look at the top 7 cards of your deck for a Pokemon, put it into your hand, can really help with your setup in combination with Quick Ball. 4 Quick Ball just rarely feels like enough for a deck like this, since we want to set up our Spiritombs early, we want to get Jirachis into play early, and we want to get Jinx down eventually, right? I think that the Great Ball is really good. More often than not, you're going to find something that you like off the Great Ball. So if you have the Great Ball and the Quick Ball in your hand, you could Great Ball first, see what you get, and then Quick Ball for whatever you didn't get off of the Great Ball. So I really love that addition of the additional search card there. And then, of course, there is the Black Market Prism Star. So as if we weren't trading favorably enough already, nobody would have expected Black Market Prism Star to make such big plays at the Limitless Invitational. Whenever a dark Pokemon that has any dark energy attached to it is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, that player takes 1 fewer prize card, which is obviously amazing with Spiritomb, because Spiritomb is a dark Pokemon that will always have a dark energy on it. So if you happen to stick Black Market Prism Star for even 1, maybe 2 turns, you can set your opponent back multiple prizes, which is amazing since you're going to be giving up prizes every single turn. Spiritomb almost never lives through the turn, right? So Black Market Prism Star, if it sticks for a turn or 2, is a huge deal. And decks are not playing a ton of Stadium cards. A lot of them are just playing 1, 2. I think we saw, the Dragapult VMAX with a 3. I mean, 3 was a lot. Usually Dragapult decks are playing 2 Stadiums, and I think that the Black Market Prism Star definitely has that time to shine right now, while Stadium counts are generally on the lower side. Then as far as the special energy goes, 3 Aurora energy and 2 unit energy, and I think we'll see as we take a look at these top 2 lists, the Aurora energy falling slightly out of favor and the unit energy picking up some steam, because it does fulfill both the dark and the fighting requirements for the Buzzwole and the Spiritombs here. But we do have the Cryogonal. His Frozen Lock attack can be very good against decks that play Dolls. It can also just be situationally good against any deck, even the Spiritomb Mirror. If they happen to have 5 damage counters on the Spiritomb, you can just randomly take a knockout with Frozen Lock. If they have 4 damage counters, you can maybe use Galarian Zigzagoon, Headbutt Tantrum, and take a knockout. The Cryogonal can also be used to help set up potential Doom Count GXs too. Just item lock is very good, and since we already play all these Rainbow energies and Aurora energies, the Cryogonal is very useful when you could just play it by surprise. And I'm sure that Luke was able to catch players in some pretty compromising situations with Cryogonal throughout the event. One Shrine of Punishment can be very good to just bring, Pikaroms, things like that, into KO range, especially if you're not able to find your Tool Scrapper and they're playing big charms. That could be very useful. And the rest of the deck, just very straightforward, strong, and really like to see Spiritomb decks doing well. It's just a very aggressive and powerful one prize deck. Now let's take a look at Kevin's winning list. Kevin Kruger's winning Yveltal GX Spiritomb deck. Really cool list here. It's got a lot of similarities to Luke's deck, but some key differences. We see only one copy of Galarian Zigzagoon, but we do have the Mind Report Mewtwo in the deck, capable of bringing supporters back from the discard pile to Great Ball instead of the one. Love it. Great Ball's an amazing card. Alana's Fishing Rod we also saw in Luke's deck. Alana's Fishing Rod's really good for not only recovering a Pokemon, but also putting a Hustle Belt back into the deck. Hustle Belts can definitely be one of those cards that make or break your game-winning plays. Being able to put an extra Hustle Belt back into the deck is extremely good. And the Adventure Bag, just for added search to go get those Hustle Belts out of the deck. Kevin also plays 4 of the unit energies here and 4 rainbow energies and only 1 Aurora energy. Both these lists playing no basic energy at all, which makes sense. There's no way to recover them here. We're not playing the ordinary rod, instead going for Lana's Fishing Rod to put the tools back. I think that that is very good. The scoop up nets are just amazing with any Jirachi oriented deck, and that was one of the things that I felt like I was kind of missing out of Andrew Wambolt's top 8 Spiritomb deck. I played just the switches and the escape boards here. We've got 4 scoop up nets, 2 switch and 2 escape boards here, so a kind of healthy combination of all of the pivot outs for our Jirachi. Still got the Oricorio as well as the Dedenne GX, and I think both of those cards existing together have kind of proven themselves to be a winning recipe in the Blacephalon decks, right? Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds, just being able to use that Dance of Tribute ability makes it so that your opponent has to choose between either knocking out the threatening attacker in the active, right, which may only have like less than 30 HP, or knocking out the card on the bench that will draw you cards to attack again the following turn. So a lot of times your opponent is forced into a compromising situation where they have to Great Catcher up the Oricorio, knock it out, and leave your attacker there to attack another turn, which is just great for you. So the Oricorio, really strong. In combination with Dedenne, you can have some very aggressive draw turns to make sure that you find all the cards you need to take key knockouts. 2 Shrine of Punishments means that we're going to have even more ways to deal damage to Pikarom decks. Bring Raichu and Alolan Raichu down into KO range. Bring Pikachu and Zekrom down into KO range as well. We see there is no Tool Scrapper in this list, and I don't think you need the Tool Scrapper if you are playing the 2 Shrine of Punishments, especially against Pikarom, because the 2 Shrine of Punishments will eventually stick and bring those big charm Pikaroms down into range for the rest of your Pokemon, since Pikarom doesn't really play a lot of stadiums, and they're probably going to have to use their Resetting Hole Marshadow on that Black Market Prism Star, which we see here again in the list. To mention Breach Giratina represented here as well, and all around just a very strong, consistent list from Kevin Kruger. So congrats again to Kevin on an amazing finish, winning the Limitless Invitational. Thank you all so much for watching this recap video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell, and of course check out fullgripgames.com for all your trading card game singles, as well as fullgripcodes.com for instant PTCGO code delivery. Make sure to check out the Twitch stream as well, twitch.tv/TrickyGem, where I'm going to be showing off a lot of these decks and how they work on stream. I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday, so make sure to check out the stream and drop it a follow. Y'all have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Peace.